Oh, that's not what you meant. Oh, you meant you meant Kelsey versus Kelsey. And I was going brother versus brother. Welcome back to the Unrestricted, ladies and gentlemen. Vex, Bob, and Richard Carnahan, the Bulldog. How y'all doing, boys?
We're doing good out of this winter wonderland here in San Antonio, Texas.
It's been really great having the kids home 2 straight days.
Yeah.
All day long.
When it's 35 degrees.
And
it's
you
like,
can't leave the house.
Where's it frozen?
Nowhere that I've seen.
Not where I am.
I don't have anything frozen in my driveway.
I told them last night if they close school today, I'm gonna make them just walk to school and stay there. just stay out front.
Though it's been awesome. One of my friends asked me, "So how are the roads downtown?" I'm like, "They're empty because nobody's here, and it's awesome."
Yeah, it is. It is quite that. Sorry we didn't get to this podcast yesterday. Usually we do it on Wednesdays. Today we're getting to it Thursday, which is totally fine. A little later in the week, and we got a lot to get through. Real quick, how you feeling, Mr. 49er fan over there? I've been looking forward to this moment all year long when we could look at you and make fun of your team.
I don't know how to feel. I think I'm through one of the stages of grief. It's a gut punch. I'm not mad at anybody other than maybe God.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm going to go right to the top.
Yeah, you're taking it to the manager, huh?
Right to the top.
Bone to pick with the big guy.
Can I see your manager?
I'm about ready to get struck with lightning.
Yeah, what? I mean, look, Purdy gets hurt, changes the game.
And Josh Johnson, the 15-year journeyman who...
He's been on more teams than, like, Gatorade.
Oh, yeah. You know that.
17 teams or something.
More sidelines than Gatorade.
That dude.
He started off the year on
He's
the
got a
practice
T-shirt
squad
collection.
for the
Has
Commanders.
anybody ever asked, or has anybody this week asked, why has he been around for 15 years if he doesn't know how to throw the forward pass?
I think I know the answer.
Why?
He knows a lot of limericks. He keeps the guys chucking.
Okay. Must be something. He must be good in the locker room.
He's good. I mean, I don't want to get in all the details of what went on. It was bad.
It was a bad game.
On.
Sorry.
Next year.
Late game. Loved it. You know that I've been a Bengals fan all year, but I have no hatred for the Chiefs. And all I was looking forward to was a great football game because, honestly, both teams are totally likable to me. Is there anything unlikable about any of the characters on those two teams or in that game?
No.
Not to me.
You just don't like them when they do it to your team.
Yeah, but otherwise, they're pretty cool.
Cowboys beat the Bengals, so I like them.
Yeah. And, Kelsey gets a little douchey, but that's what tight ends like him do, right?
And I think it's all in good fun.
Yeah,
Like, the
I
more
agree.
I watch on those boys, the Kelsey boys and their mom
Mm-hmm.
and the whole deal,
It's all good.
as the kids say, they're living their best lives.
So I had only love for that game and only excitement, and the game lived up to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was an exceptionally played football game. I found myself as a Cowboys fan watching both the quarterbacks and the coaches on the sideline.
And wishing you had a real quarterback
with
and a
real
real coach.
jealousy.
Or at least one.
Yeah, just one or the other, bro.
Yeah.
One or the other. Because there were some throws by Burrow to T. Higgins. There was one that was just, you couldn't have placed it any better if you'd handed it to him.
Yep.
Right between two defenders, right at the goal line. That you remember that
You
catch?
climb that ladder.
There was a throw by Mahomes that was just like you could
On
live,
one foot.
You could,
Yeah.
and you could live 4 more lifetimes, and Dak is never going to make that throw.
And I propose that we change Herculean to Mahomesian.
How cool is he?
I like it.
Can we go on that for just a sec? Because look, I wanted the Bengals to win that game. You know I did, but Mahomes is so cool.
And tough as nails.
That's how you become a GOAT, is
Yeah.
games like that. That's how you get your rep. For some reason, Tony Romo was already doing Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler stuff during the game, which I'm like, Tony, what are you doing? He has really gone off a cliff, by the way.
His meds aren't right.
I don't think they are. Meanwhile, Greg Olson's analysis in the earlier game, I thought was straight up perfect. Greg Olson's good.
He is.
That was kind of a Michael Jordan flu game performance.
Yeah.
Like historic in that way.
Well, when he had the run, he ran, and then he hops to hand off again.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's making it up.
No.
High ankle sprains hurt like holy hell.
Yeah. You could see that it was affecting him,
Mm-hmm.
particularly on that rollout to his left where he had to plant and he delivers a strike. at the moment that the Chiefs had to have it. Look, it's really hard not to love Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean,
there's the Texas connection. Even with the Super Bowl, you got two Texan starting quarterbacks.
His arm is insane.
It is.
I
Footwork's
saw
insane.
I saw a deal like that. His pitching record in high school was better than the guy that won the Cy Young a couple years ago. The dude's just he's a meat.
Yeah,
man.
he really is.
He's a meat.
No, it's awesome to watch. It was a great game. Let me just say, before I go off on any officiating, that game deserved overtime. Okay?
Yeah.
The game necessitated overtime. And I realized that the hit by Osai was out of bounds, and that requires a flag, and that finished the ball game. But it was not the correct ending to what it had built up for that game. It should have gone to overtime.
No, and if he doesn't make that tackle out of bounds, it is going to go to overtime. There's no way that kicker is kicking that far in those conditions.
I would have really loved to see a kicker miss one.
No kidding. Feel better. That would have been the right time.
Kickers
Karma.
In the Final Four, kickers don't miss. I found that out. I watched all the games.
Yeah.
And they didn't miss.
They do not miss. You're right.
Sorry.
So that's why
Mar.
I'm
I'm glad you didn't sell your house in Nebraska, Holmes.
A lot of people I've heard this week calling the Osai play and the late hit on Mahomes stupid. It wasn't stupid. It was unavoidable. He's going full speed and trying to get him. And look, Mahomes takes his left foot barely out of bounds on the sideline. His right foot is a yard out of bounds, and they collide. Look, I'm not calling it stupid. That's not fair to that kid who had just made the biggest play of the game by getting to Mahomes in the backfield. Like, he was maybe the best player on the field for the Bengals all day long, especially on that side of the ball.
It's hard for a dude that big to stop.
It just is. It's unavoidable.
Yeah, not stupid. Maybe a little out of control, but not stupid.
Out of control.
But
fine. I call it unavoidable.
How
call
do you
it out
want
of
your
control.
defensive
That's fine.
linemen to play? I want them to play out of fucking control.
Absolutely.
They're paid to wreak havoc.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Best player on the field in that game, by the way, I take back what I said about Joseph Asai. It was Chris Jones.
Oh, yeah.
He got to Burrow time and time again into the football game the way he did. Look, if he plays that like that in the Super Bowl, this is going to get really good.
It's going to be a good game.
It is going to be a good game.
Can't wait. And we're not going to make predictions today. We will get into it.
A lot of time.
Do you have anything on the officiating? I don't want to get into the specifics of the calls or anything like that, but is there anything that jumped out to you about it, like as a way to fix it, or what do we do going forward?
Can you replay calls?
You can. In the NFL, yeah.
Well, then why the fuck didn't they replay that one? Well, to the letter of the law.
There's only certain calls that can be replayed, right?
Okay.
I mean, otherwise we're going to sit around and watch pass interferences and late hits.
Yeah, and 7-hour games.
I mean,
I can't have it.
I still want a sky judge who's a member of the crew, who actually operates as a member of the crew, not as a review dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. But, I mean,
you
officiating...
just want to be that guy so you can operate your drone over the
Yeah.
games.
And
Let's be honest.
You have a problem with that?
That'd be a good gig.
You'd be good at it.
No, at the end of the day, for me, if you don't want the referees to decide the game that you're playing, don't let the referees decide the game that you're playing.
Woo! I mean, I get it, bro, but there was a lot of stuff going Kansas City's way in that game, and very little that I thought, the Bengals got the benefit of the doubt there. I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't just one call.
And that's the reason why you play for home field advantage. There is a little bit of that.
Okay.
And
And they got hosed on home field advantage.
Talking about home field advantage, if the Eagles aren't at their home field, that pass to Devontae Smith may actually get overturned.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
So home field advantage, a little bit of home bias. Referees are going to referee, and
they're going to make mistakes.
They're human.
Let me say this, that I think the NFL has wrong. In these conference championship games, they don't keep the same crews together that have worked throughout the year. They put on what they consider to be an all-star team. So the guy who's done really good at back judge, he joins the best head referees crew, and that's how they put these guys together. They haven't worked games before. And I think if you think about it, those games Sunday, there were a lot of huddles for a long time between the referees where you could just tell they had not communicated much, if at all, during the season. I think they got to move away from that. Just keep the crews together.
I mean, I like the idea of crews staying together, but I also like the idea of the best referees getting into the postseason. So maybe what we do is we put the all-star crews in at the wild card round, and we evaluate the best crews, just like we were evaluating a team. So the best officiating crews get to move on to the divisional round.
There you go.
Best referees get to move on to the conference championship.
I like that. I can get with it.
Yeah.
Had a lot of random thoughts watching those games. A lot of time for random thoughts, frankly.
With all the commercial breaks?
Well, yeah. And frankly, the 49er game being a blowout.
A real snooze fest.
Done by the second quarter.
Yeah.
Hey, I was getting ready to call a hotline about middle of the second quarter.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
You ready to hear my randoms?
Yeah. Sure.
All right, guys. This came from the second game. And I've talked about him already, Joseph Asai, with the, I guess, boneheaded late hit. He's crying on the sideline. His teammates are consoling him. How long is too long to show a single grown man crying on the sideline? My God, camera people. 5 minutes. Here's my new rule of thumb. If his tears are starting to dry or freeze, because it was like 7 degrees, you've kept the camera on him a little bit too long.
Perhaps the director was German. That was a little bit of Schadenfreude.
Maybe.
Random thought. The toothbrush
Oh, boy.
had to be invented in Arkansas.
Why?
Anywhere else, wouldn't it be called the teeth brush?
It's true. It's
Random
not
thought.
just for one of them.
Yeah, it's all of them.
We need a sad trombone sound.
Yeah.
So, Alanis would be really interested in the irony of Louisiana. In Louisiana, you need a driver's license to watch porn, but you can go get a daiquiri at a drive-thru without an ID.
Are you serious?
Yes.
When did Louisiana come up with this?
January 1st this year.
Does Louisiana self-identify as something that they're not? It's the home of, like, smut and sludge.
A lot of people in New Orleans self-identify as something they're not.
Okay. Point taken. Next random thought. I'm still stuck on that second football game. Going through the week, last week, I thought the Bengals were going to win all week. Until the Cincinnati mayor comes in off the top rope talking about Patrick Mahomes needs a paternity test because Joe Burrow might be his daddy. Mayors, shut the fuck up. Don't do that. That was bulletin board material, and it turned out that it did motivate the Chiefs. You saw it in the postgame. Mayors, know your role.
Shut your mouth. Know your damn role. Another random thought, fellas. What's going on with the police officers in Tennessee?
I don't know.
So there's an officer named Megan Hall who got busted, if you will, sleeping with 6 other police officers. And she's married.
Holy cow.
Steamy shenanigans is the report.
Steamy shenanigans.
And she does not discriminate.
Really?
Yeah, she slept with a whole Benetton.
Planted her flag in a lot of different nationalities.
Well, it wasn't her flag that was planted. She was planted.
You could just take support to blue just a little too far.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's a stressful job.
It is a stressful job.
Perhaps we can use her in Memphis.
Yeah, perhaps so.
Big news also this week. The GOAT is retiring.
That's right.
Ozzy Osbourne.
You know, it's funny you say that because for some reason I found myself watching the Ronnie Dio documentary last night.
Ronnie James Dio?
And didn't even know that he replaced Ozzy in Black Sabbath.
Oh, yeah.
The
That's
Dio
where he
years.
got his start. That's
No,
where he
it's
kinda
not
came
where he
from.
got his start.
Well, it's where he came from, right?
He was a crooner. He
He-
came from Cortland, New York, sucker. I watched the whole documentary.
Yeah, wait, where'd you see it? I got to watch this.
Showtime.
Okay, all right. No, Brady is retiring. I don't want to spend any time on it. We've done this before, frankly. We did this show last year, right about this time.
Did we, or are we last year again? Are we in a time loop?
Kinda.
Guess what? Puscatawny Phil saw his shadow.
Yeah, this is
6
Groundhog
more
Day.
weeks of winter because it is Groundhog Day.
I got something interesting for you.
Drop it.
Did you know that Tom Brady's real name is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady?
Can't
I
say
kind
that
of
I
hate
did.
the two middle name thing.
You know, Lou Costello has my right thought for Tom Brady.
I don't care.
Exactly. I don't either. What do you think? The problem with two middle names is that there isn't really a middle, right?
That's a good point.
Well,
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady.
is this the Jew in you coming out being
Maybe.
against the whole confirmation
How
name
many
for the
people do
Catholics?
you know with two middle names?
I have a second middle name that I got on my confirmation day.
What was that?
Oh, they like give it to you later?
You select it as part of the confirmation process. Yeah.
Oh,
religion
I
are
had no
you?
idea.
I was stuck with mine,
Yeah, what's yours?
Henry.
Yeah. You know what mine is?
It's something cool.
Abraham.
Yeah. And all his sons. Captain Abraham.
What are your two middle names? Since there isn't a real middle anymore.
Since he got
Michael
to pick it, it's
Chester.
live long and prosper.
Nice.
Nanu.
Fuck off. Michael Chester.
Oh my God.
molester.
Michael Chester.
Chester.
I don't even know her.
Chester. We just met. We can't.
Yep, I'm waiting to go to my
Michael
debutante
Chester.
ball later.
Oh my God. That is awesome.
Chester.
Real reason Tom Brady's retiring, and make sure you're jotting this down at home. Veronica, that's Veronica with a K, Rajek.
That's your girl.
Oh my God.
The other reason is 10
26-year-old
years,
model.
$375 million.
Which is
for
more than he
broadcast.
made
That's
playing
his
football.
broadcast contract.
But he's got to make some money up because apparently he lost like 4.8 on that Bitcoin / bullshit.
Do you have a gut feeling on whether he's even going to be a good announcer?
I
don't
don't
know.
care.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard.
Have you watched him in those golf tournaments?
What was that over there, Bob?
I don't care.
I kind of don't either. I know. But yeah, you're right. In the golf tournaments, he's boring.
Sometimes he's funny, but it's all inside joke. And as we've seen, inside jokes don't work for everybody. Only the people that
No,
know
and
them.
sports athletes moving to the booth, the rule is they're going to suck. The exception is they're good.
Yeah. I
So we
agree.
have a couple of exceptions. Romo, I think, is really
Greg
good.
Olson. Yep.
I think Peyton Manning is a gift to mankind.
He is.
But I don't.
It doesn't work for everybody.
No.
It just doesn't. Other news this week, the Cowboys, after, a stunning collapse, really, against the 49ers, really made the smart move and fired 6 position coaches. Because I'll tell you, as I was watching that game, all I was thinking was, God dang it, if we only had a better running backs coach, we'd be winning. What kind of fall guy crap is going on up there? We're firing like strength trainers. That was not the
We
problem.
fired the water boy.
Everybody on the planet can see that the problem lies at head coach and at quarterback, and we're going to get rid of the
And they're retained.
linebackers coach.
Well, Fat Irish Santa has a deal with the devil.
on.
He sold his soul.
God, the Cowboys are a joke. And Kellen Moore, we laughed. We were sending text messages to each other. Kellen Moore, see ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way out,
Fails upward, replaces Dak for Justin Herbert.
Good for him.
Good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
But he's working for a dysfunctional head coach again.
Can't wait until week 8 of next year when
Well,
the
week 8 of
Chargers-
next year, Quinn might be our head coach.
Dan Quinn. Yeah.
That's the only good thing they did was retain him.
Yeah.
But the naysayers say the only reason that he's staying is because he didn't get the offers from the places that he interviewed.
Yeah.
Well, and that's fine. This is good. I like the fact that they're saying, okay, Fat Irish Santa, you got to call the plays. Because now there's no one else to blame.
That's right. And I think Quinn knows that he is the coach in waiting.
Well,
Should
especially
McCarthy
after
fall on his
especially
face.
after Sean Payton got hired.
Exactly. Kellen Moore, week 8, it's a date when the Chargers are not actually great on offense, and they go, oh, maybe Kellen Moore isn't a genius. That's right. That's what we saw here in Dallas.
Send him to New York.
The Sean Payton signing to Denver kind of saddened me for a second because it meant for sure McCarthy was staying.
Right.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's that Walmart money.
$24 million, is that right?
In the neck.
That's what they're
in the
hearing,
neighborhood.
yeah.
And that's aside from all the draft picks and everything, the capital that they gave up to New Orleans to get him. I was looking into the Sean Payton move. This is weird. And I know I'm catching you off guard with this. It's not trying to embarrass you. How long do you think Sean Payton's been a head coach?
4 years.
No, I thought it was more like 10, 12.
15 years.
Oh, jeez.
I know. It didn't feel that long to me either. That's why I had to look it up.
That's what
He was a coach in New Orleans, head coach in New Orleans for 15 years.
Are you including the year he was suspended?
Except for that, yes,
Okay.
yes, that's in there. Yes.
Bounty Gate.
D'Amico Ryans to the Texans.
Good for him.
I like it.
I loved him as a Texan. He was my favorite Houston Texans player for his 10 years.
I can't name 5 players that have ever played there, so that's.
He might be the headline player who ever played there.
What about the receiver?
Oh, Andre Johnson.
Yeah.
You're right.
That
It's
dude
Andre
was a
Johnson.
beast.
But I mean, he was the captain of the defense. I always thought that he was
Alabama,
the most,
right?
Yeah, out of Alabama. I always thought he was the most important player that the Texans had on that side of the ball.
Not Brian Cushing's. Look at me. I know 5 players.
Yeah, him too. But Ryans to me was the leader. It's not surprising to me that he became a head coach. It was surprising to me when I started to think about linebackers as head coaches. Kind of an interesting.
You got old crazy eyes, Singletary.
Yeah. So that was the first one that popped to
Ugh.
mind for me.
Oh, yeah, he was a coach of your team.
Good
I
high
went-
school football coach.
I went through and looked at former players and their positions and who went on to become head coaches. It's interesting. Not a lot of linebackers have become head coaches. Not very many. Way more secondary guys, cornerbacks, safeties.
Yeah.
Way more of those than linebackers. However, here are some. You gave the low light, which is
Crazy eyes.
Singletary. Okay. Maybe, Jack Del Rio. He finished his career almost
He's
at 5.
still
Okay.
coaching.
Yeah.
He's at the Commanders.
Um,
It's the
This-
first time I called him that.
this
my
isn't
entire
a
life.
this isn't a bad list. I'm looking at it.
ready? Bill Cowher,
Yep.
Okay. Legit.
Marty Schottenheimer.
Pretty legit.
I mean, Marty Schottenheimer was good.
His son's on the Cowboys payroll still. He hadn't gotten fired.
He went 252 and 213 over his season, over his career. It's pretty damn good.
Mike
How about-
Vrabel.
How about Chuck Noll?
Ooh, I feel a lot of Pittsburgh love. For the
23
linebackers.
years in Pittsburgh, 209 and 156.
That's
And yes, Mike Vrabel.
Lovey Smith.
Dude, it's
Lovey's got a great beard.
I'm kind of surprised more linebackers aren't hired.
Yeah,
I
this is
love it.
Yeah,
If
Love
they
it
could
for
keep
the
their
Texans.
faculties, they probably a lot of
Well-
them probably have just cell damage.
yeah. He may just be the first black man that they don't fire after a year.
God, can they please just hold a coach for just a minute? It's going to take a while. You're not going to get good in 1 year, right?
They
Not-
got to figure out what
yeah.
they're going to do
To
at
me-
quarterback.
D'Amico Ryans has a chance there. I think he's the right guy in the right spot. I love it.
Yeah,
awesome
six
hire.
6-year contract is what he signed, but we
I
know
hope-
it doesn't mean anything.
I hope he gets all of those. You wanted to, Richard, you wanted to check in on the NBA, didn't you?
I sure did.
Talk to me.
Let's talk about our Spurs.
What do you want to know?
They're sucking, which we want, but they're not sucking quite enough. Can we get on board to really suck it up? To be just so shitty,
Like Spaceballs. Suck.
to be so shitty that we let the Coyote play minutes.
I'm telling you, we're going the right direction. Okay. Vassell has sat out over a month now.
Perfect.
We're rotating guys onto the injured list.
We've
Jeremy
got guys
So-
playing that we've never heard of before.
Absolutely. I mean, I know you don't know who Malachi Branham is, but
Like Scoot Skadair.
that's not a real guy.
Scoot Skadair had 11 points 2 nights ago. Fuck you.
Hey, the Spurs are sucking really bad. They have the worst point differential in the NBA at minus 9.8
And
points.
by the way, the worst
Worst.
defensive rating in the history of the league.
That's what's going to drive Pop mad enough to
Yes,
quit.
it is. It might be.
Bad defense.
Because he loves coaching defense. And they are historically on pace to be the worst defensive team in the league's history.
well, we need to translate all of those horrible stats into more losses.
We are doing pretty good. Look, we are now in the bottom 3.
We need to suck the most.
We just need to be bottom 3. You know that.
Yeah, but our chances go up if we are the suckiest.
No, incorrect. Just bottom 3 all have 14.9% chance of getting the number 1 pick.
Okay.
Being the worst team is no better than being the 3rd worst team.
Okay.
So we are in
We're-
the honey hole.
we were where we want to be.
Yes, we are right where we want to be. And Jeremy Sohan, who has been showing some really good signs over the last month, tweaked his back last night. My guess is he's hold him out for just whatever the rest of the year.
I
Did
don't
he
know.
tweak it shooting one-handed from the free throw line?
Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about this because you absolutely hated this fucking guy.
I had major
said
concerns.
He can't shoot. He can't dribble. He's a hustle guy, sort of. He can't. And then when he starts shooting with one hand, well, guess what? He was 42%, and with one hand, he's 76%.
Yeah, on his free throws, he is. Okay, quick correction. I never said he couldn't dribble because he can dribble. He's really good at dribbling. And what the Spurs have kind of shifted to is using him as a point forward. I mean, he dribbles the ball up court. And he has.
They kind of let him do whatever he wants,
They kind of do. They
Which-
kind of do.
which is kind of.
He's got a little bit of Ginobili to him. Okay. He makes some really amazing plays. There is a small question that I have, and that is
Who is his hairstylist?
that for sure. But like overall basketball IQ, I'm a little worried that it might be low.
But he's also young
he
too,
is. He's
right?
19. He's 19. But he makes some reads that are really simple, and he gets them wrong more often than I'm
So wouldn't
comfortable
that
with.
mean that he's not reading?
Yeah. Okay. Good point. That kind of worries me. But look, the activity level on the glass, the activity level on defense, the ability to run an offense, those are things that are very interesting to me. His attitude as he has gotten into a couple
He likes
of
to
scraps,
fight, and I like that.
we all like that.
Yeah, that's-
Right. And look, if the Spurs get Scoot or they get Wemby, they're gonna want a tough guy.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
Let's say we get either Scoot or Wemby. What do we do with the rest of the fucking roster? Who stays? Who goes?
So I love that you brought this up because this is something that I have highlighted that I wanted to talk about today. The trade deadline for the NBA is 6 days away.
Okay.
Or maybe it's 7. Anyway, whatever.
7 days away. It's the
a
9th.
week. Yeah. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be, but I think this is going to be one of the busiest trade deadlines we've ever seen, if not the busiest. You have a large number of teams who are within reach of a top 4 seed for their conference. You have another large handful of teams that are within striking distance of becoming really crappy and getting themselves into the Scoot Wemby sweepstakes.
They can stay away from our sweepstakes.
Yes, stay away, please. This is our turf,
Yes.
our corner. Don't stand here. So I think that you are going to see teams essentially divide off into haves and have-nots,
Mm-hmm.
and 15 teams in either direction, basically. I think this could go crazy. The Spurs have assets. Keldon Johnson being one of them, Jakob Poeltl another, Josh Richardson being another, Doug McDermott, that allegedly other teams are interested in. And all of those guys have value, Richard. They do, to a contending team.
Right.
However, if what I'm predicting does happen, if 10 other teams decide we're going in the tank and we're getting rid of our guys too, that floods the market with talented players from their rosters
Peace builders.
that are also
Pieces.
pieces to those
Mhm.
to those good championship caliber teams, and all of a sudden the Jakob Poeltl isn't as valuable because, let's just say, Miles Plumlee becomes available from Charlotte.
He's that big, tall, skinny white guy.
Yeah. And, are they kind of the same player? Kind of. Yeah.
Journeyman.
I mean, Look, if here's another Charlotte player, Terry Rozier. He's a legend.
Scary Terry.
Scary Terry. Are you telling me?
I'd love to have him
If you
next year.
if you were the Lakers though, like I'm just using them as an example,
Fucking
okay?
Lakers. They
If you
still
were
have
the-
a losing record.
Yeah, they do. If you were the Lakers and you needed another point guard, would you be looking at Josh Richardson or Terry Rozier?
Terry.
Me too. So all the Spurs fans are like, "Oh, Doug McDermott, we'll get a first rounder for him.
No, you won't.
Josh Richardson, we'll get a first rounder for him." Man, check yourself. The market's going to be flooded with really talented players off of really bad teams. I honestly think our best, most valuable trade asset right now, and this would take a major pull of the parachute, Keldon Johnson.
Yeah.
It's Keldon. He kind of plays the same position as Devin Vassell, kind of plays the same position as Jeremy Sohan. If the Spurs are going to part with one of their younger guys, I have a feeling he's the odd man out. Now, if you are
Have we seen the best he's got?
in my opinion, yes, this
Yeah.
is as good as he's going to be.
He is above average athleticism, and he's a motor guy.
He is.
And so what that means to me is like white guy that tries real hard.
He's got about 5 years of really good impact play. And if I were a team, just going to throw one out again, if I were the Knicks, I would look at Keldon Johnson and I would say, that guy can help us
Put him in.
right now, and we could be a 6 seed or a 5 seed if we get him. And he can stay next to Jalen Brunson for 5 or 6 years. That sounds like a glue guy, a real piece for our franchise. And what could you get for Keldon Johnson? Now you're talking first rounders.
Yeah.
Okay? Not for the Dougie McDermotts.
No.
Sorry. It ain't going to happen. I think this is going to be a wild NBA week. Wild. I'm looking forward to it. And it's all in lead up to the Super Bowl, right? Which is kind of neat. All of this is going to take place next week. And this week, we didn't want to go deep on the Super Bowl. We'll save that for next week.
It's going to be a hell of a game, though.
Dude, it opened as a pick'em. I don't think that's ever happened in Super Bowl history.
What for
Now it's
sure
one.
has never happened
Yeah.
in Super Bowl history is brother against brother.
2 black quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Oh, that's not what you meant. Oh, you meant you meant you meant Kelsey versus Kelsey. And I was going brother versus brother. I was going to say, isn't it great that we've gone this whole show without mentioning that, we used to say this when we were kids. Won't it be a great day when 2 black quarterbacks play in the Super Bowl and we don't even make mention of it? And we almost did, except for he threw me for a loop on brother versus brother.
I meant like real life,
Yeah,
fraternal,
he did.
same mom.
It's now Eagles -1.5. It's going to be awesome. We'll dive into it deep next week.
Yep.
Any
I think
leanings?
Well, I'm leaning towards we might get those credentials to go out to Arizona and interview a few people.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm working on my my hookup.
Cool. Let me know.
So keep your schedule open because we can take an Amtrak and all the way to Arizona to save because those sponsored scholarships.
Give me a
it's just
ticket
sponsored
for
dollars.
an aeroplane. Any leanings, Bob?
I want the Eagles to be buried so far deep they can study the Earth's core.
Just because they beat your team?
Yes.
Okay. God.
I'm a petty man.
Petty
Aunt
man.
Phallus will return next week with her picks.
Oh God, she is a handful.
Lovely Aunt
She
Phallus.
doesn't like you.
No, she doesn't.
Y'all have a wonderful week. We'll see you next Wednesday on the Unrestricted.
How y'all feel out there? Do you feel good? I said, do you feel good? Come on. The groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move. I said the groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move. It feel good, don't it? It feel good. It feel good cause you know it's good.